Did you know AOT supports the Holocaust? They have a minority race that's discriminated against in Marley, and they all wear red armbands. That's just like the Jews in Germany. Did you know that Naruto supports child soldiers in war? The story literally ends with the world being saved by child soldiers winning a war. Did you know that all battle manga are in favor of violence? All of the heroes achieve their goals by beating up their opponents. If all of this sounds stupid to you, then at least you're not too far gone. Let's talk about themes. Walk with me. Like walk. What are you skipping for? That's why I can't take y'all anywhere. What is a theme? In the context of stories, a theme is the message behind a story. It's what the story is trying to say. How do you spot a theme? Well, the simplest way that most people unconsciously understand is reward and punishment, like in Aesop's fables. If a character gets rewarded for acting a certain way, the theme of the story is act that way. If a character gets punished instead, the theme is don't act that way. This is what I used to use, but there's a giant red flag with this. Not every single moment in the story is going to reward the theme or punish the anti-theme. Sometimes, following the theme might be punished and following the anti-theme might be rewarded. If you're watching a superhero movie and the villain gets a victory in the middle of the movie, the story is rewarding the villain's actions, but does that mean the message is act like the villain? In The Dark Knight, Joker escapes prison and kills Rachel halfway through the movie. Does that now mean that the theme is act like Joker? No, because it's stupid to try and extract a theme from every single scene. So where is the theme? This is why I look for the theme in the climax of a story. I didn't make this rule up. It's been in stories and movies for decades. In the highest point of the story, the important decision that is made and the events that occur represent what the theme is. The dialogue can also be helpful in deciphering the theme. At the end of The Dark Knight, there are two climaxes. The first is where Batman beats Joker and proves that not everyone is like the latter, and that there are still people willing to believe in good. This is proved by the fact that neither fairies blew up the other. But in the second climax, despite Harvey losing, he was proven right. He said that they couldn't be decent men in an indecent time. This is proved by Batman taking the fall for Harvey, and Gordon lying to Gotham to keep everyone safe. Movies always have a climax at the end, but TV shows and comics can be different. In TV shows, the climax might be at the end of an episode, a story arc, or a season. In manga, they can be at the end of a fight, a sub-arc, or a story arc. This rule is important because it prevents the audience from taking away the wrong message and gives writers a clear way of conveying their theme, and the audience a clear way of understanding that theme. If you don't have strict rules on where the theme is, then the conversation of what is the theme is almost irrelevant because it becomes much more subjective. People can twist evidence from the story to fit their idea of what the theme is, rather than looking at the evidence in the climax. In AOT, the Eldians in Marley are a different race and are treated like monsters because they have the potential to turn into titans. They are forced to wear red armbands and can be promoted to honorary Marleyans if they are useful enough to their country. The Eldians are also segregated into the ghettos. There are obvious parallels to Jews in Nazi Germany. Does that mean that AOT is promoting Nazi Germany because the Marleyans get away with discriminating against the Eldians? No. Let's look at Heron. He turns into a genocidal warlord and accomplishes so much. He won several battles towards his goal and even activated the rumbling, which would have wiped out the map. Does that mean that AOT is in support of genocide and revenge? No. You know why? Because of the climax. The climax is the Eldians and Marleyans putting their differences aside and working together to stop the genocidal warlord. After he's killed, Marleyans and Eldians are able to live peacefully together. The theme is supporting unity and harmony over discord and hatred. But if I don't follow the climax rules for judging a theme, and I just live in Wonderland, where anything I feel is a theme, I can say that AOT supports Nazism and mass genocide, and I'd have evidence to back it up. But there's a difference between an idea existing in a story, and a story promoting an idea. In Naruto, child soldiers and war are prevalent, but nowhere in the story is there a climax that promotes these ideas. These ideas simply exist in the story, probably to make it more interesting and entertaining. If you look at the climaxes in any Naruto arc, the message is always positive. Just because the characters cheated on an exam and passed because of it, doesn't mean that the story is telling you to cheat on your exams. The theme of the sub-arc was never give up, even when you're overwhelmed. You know how I know? The climax. Just because the idea of cheating on a test exists, does not mean that the story is promoting it. Like AOT, I also want to look at a misconception of themes. Many people still sadly believe that hard work beats natural talent is a theme of Naruto, when in reality, it never was. The strongest evidence for this is during the Chunin exams, specifically two fights, Lee vs Gaara and Naruto vs Neji. But if you actually analyze the climax and the dialogue, you'd know that hard work beating natural talent has nothing to do with the themes. The theme of Lee vs Gaara is geniuses can be born, not just made. The dialogue that supports this is Tenten telling Lee that he's not a genius in a flashback, and Guy telling Lee that he's a genius of hard work. The climax of the fight is Lee having everyone in awe of his skills, including his genius opponent, who asks, is he even human? Despite losing the fight, he proved that despite not being born a genius, he was able to reach genius status through effort. Hard work and talent aren't pitted against each other thematically. Both are trying to reach the status of genius through different means. The theme of Naruto vs Neji is you can change your destiny. Naruto believes this and Neji believes the opposite. There is a lot of dialogue to support this, including Neji's fight with Hinata. In summary, the destinies that Neji believes in is that once a failure, always a failure. Naruto is a failure who can't beat a genius, a weak personality can't become strong, in reference to Hinata, and that he is bound to the rules of his clan. All of these destinies are proven wrong. Naruto goes from a failure to a success. He beats the genius Neji as a failure. Hinata gains a stronger personality, and Neji is not subservient or inferior due to being in the cadet branch. He surpassed Hinata, who was in the main branch. Once again, there is no presence of hard work versus natural talent. It's about destiny and whether it can be changed or not. Death of the author is a concept that connects to all of this. This argues that the meaning of a text is not determined by the author's intention, but rather the reader's interpretation. I'm in the middle on this. More specifically, I'm in support of evidence and rules. If a story has a climax, I extract the theme from that climax. If that goes with what the author intended, then congratulations, they knew what they were doing. If it goes against what the author intended, then the author messed up. I have rules, and the evidence in the text, when put through those rules, results in an answer. Even for things outside of themes, I go based on evidence. If JoJo's author says that Star Platinum is the strongest stand, but there's evidence against that, I'm going with the evidence. If Demon Slayer's author says that all the elements are imaginary, but there's evidence against that, I'm going with the evidence. The only time I care about what the author says is if it doesn't contradict the text. I think Dota is kinda stupid by itself. If every story was up to the reader's interpretation, I could say stupid things like Isayama supports genocide, but furthermore, literary analysis and critique becomes completely useless because there is no objectivity. The purpose of critique is to make art better. But if there's no truth and just opinions, how is critique supposed to help artists? It wouldn't, it would only confuse them. Now, I've always had these thoughts, but what got me to write this script was people complaining about the themes of Miyazaki's latest movie in the comments of my video on it. The Wikipedia page has a whole section on the themes of the movie, which are a combo of Miyazaki's words and personal interpretations. Let's see if the author is dead or alive. Quick recap. The climax of this movie is the creator of this magical world telling this kid, Mahito, to become his successor and create a world of his own. The creator's world has malice in it, and he wants the kid to make a world without malice. The kid refuses and goes back to the real world. The Wikipedia page describes the central theme of how individuals navigate and come to terms with a world characterized by strife and loss. That's not in the climax, so how is that the central theme? Let's read another quote. The film contains the message of creating a world without conflict with your own hands. End quote. This is from Japan Times. Mahito decided not to create a world in the climax, so once again, how is this the theme? Apparently, the film is also about, quote, children's potential to surpass previous generations under challenging circumstances, end quote. The wizard asked Mahito to make a better world than him, and he decided not to. This wiki page would argue that Mahito is making progress because he realized that the scar was an example that he himself possessed malice, so he must first embrace those who love him. So him choosing not to make a world yet was progress. This is bollocks because Mahito gave himself that scar so that he wouldn't have to return to school. How is that malice? The wiki page continues citing a bunch of reviews from newspapers, magazines, and film reviews. I'm not going to read any more because the author didn't even say these. This is all readers making up their own meaning from the text, like Dota. The problem is that they don't set any rules, they just go based on a little evidence and a lot of feelings. That's what happens when you don't have rules. Everyone sees what they want to see and there's no truth. In conclusion, the theme is located in the climax of a story. If you don't use rules or evidence to locate the theme, you can come away with all kinds of themes, no matter how much they differ from the evidence or the author's intention. I can say that AOT supports the Holocaust and genocide. I can say that Naruto supports child soldiers and cheating on tests. I can say that Death Note supports killing other people if you think they're wrong. I can say that One Piece promotes breaking laws and rebelling against the government. I can say that Bleach supports committing genocide on your enemies. I can say that Tokyo Ghoul supports cannibalism and torture. I can say that Golden Wind supports gang activity. I can say that Talentless Nana supports assassination. Finally, if we don't use rules and evidence, then our criticism is unhelpful to artists and loses all purpose. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and help me revolutionize the manga industry by buying my manga and spreading the word. All important links will be in the description.